today we have a special guest that, in my opinion, probably the only unreplaceable guy in his lane, Mr. Neil Pickup. How are you, Neil?
I'm okay, mate. A few personal challenges at the moment with my family's health, which has been ongoing
Yeah.
for a long time, as you know.
Yes.
But outside of that, yeah, I'm okay, buddy. Thank you. And I'm glad that everybody's okay in the earthquake. My wife was telling me about it, and it was on the news in the car earlier that there'd been a massive earthquake in Istanbul.
No,
So
no, it's not that massive. Like nobody even got injured from the earthquake except the people who get panic and jump from balcony. Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. But other than that, nobody like because of the earthquake, there was not even, as far as I know, not even
No major
no,
issues.
not even injury. Nothing. Yeah,
That's great. That's really
yeah,
good news.
yeah. So how is everything? How is your health?
Personally, no change for myself, really. At least not that I'm aware of. It's outside of myself that the issues are more. It's been a very strange. I want to say 18 months, 24 months, just from that
Mhm.
perspective. I had 3 members of my family diagnosed with cancer in that period of time, so it was pretty
Tough
out of
times.
nowhere, and that's quite knocks you for
Okay.
6 a little bit. So that was takes some wrapping your head round. It really does, particularly when they're members of your immediate family. It's pretty big.
Yeah, of course. I have lost my father 22 years ago and my mom 8 years ago, and yeah, I would do anything to have them here.
Yeah,
I would do
yeah.
anything, yeah. But
The
yeah,
same. My mum and my dad. I've been very very lucky with my mum and dad. Generally, I've said it many times. They're my heroes in life. They really are. So
hmm.
it's very bad when you see that kind of thing and that you're relatively
Yeah.
helpless about it. It's not great.
I mean, better to stay positive and not give up and like never know, that
Hundred
everything.
percent, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
That's certainly the plan. And
Hmm.
my 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 understanding of it, knowledge of it is minimal. I'm certainly not a medical person, but I know that it's extraordinarily common. So many people you speak to have been have experienced it at some level. Member of their family, somebody they're very close to. It's a weird thing. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But from an arm wrestling perspective, we remain on track, mate. I'm looking forward to King of the Table 14. The card you've put together is typically unbelievable. Now and again you get matches that really tweak you. At the last event, I'm kind of a freak like that because I'm a little bit of a purist. But at the last event, even though you had Devon on there, which without doubt the biggest draw in the sport, for most people coming into the sport, and in the span of the last, I want to say since COVID. So what's that, like 3-4 years? I think Devon has done an enormous amount within arm wrestling, outside of arm wrestling, to raise the level of the sport to the general public, to the people who aren't necessarily hardcore fans of the sport. For someone like me, that is
Hmm.
like you, purist, absolute hardcore fan, my favourite match on that card, I think, was the best match on that card, and it was Mindigas Terasaitis Yanis. I've
Yeah.
wanted to see that match so many times. I'll be honest with you, and I could watch it every week. if you rerun
Neil,
that match every week, I'd watch it and
do
I'd love it.
you realize that why the cars over here a bit better than the North America? It is all
Oh yeah,
about the
visa,
visa issues.
visa problems, visa
Yeah,
issues, travel,
yeah, yeah.
huge amount of challenges around that. Because obviously
But still, it was good cards.
oh
And
yeah,
then the card that I prepared for June, just wait and then see.
mate. I don't think there's any apologies ever to be made on
No, no,
the
I don't,
last
I don't
card.
do,
I
I
thought
don't do
was
an
mega.
apology, but I just explain, like that there is a limitation When it is in Istanbul, it is open buffet.
Yeah,
Everyone can travel. But when it is in US, then like look at the rankings. The majority of the rankings are not from North America at the top. You understand? Because
yeah,
like we need to be realistic. When you say West, we're talking about 2, 3 countries with Brazil. When
yes.
you say East, you're talking about 30 countries.
And
So
also,
it
it's
is norm.
the cultural approach to the sport, mate. Whenever you can see it in all sports. I mean, strongman's a really good example because the biggest strongman shows in the world right now are without question Giants Live in the UK. And if you look at the amount of talent coming out of the UK at world level, I mean, the reigning world's strongest man is from Scotland. Many of the guys that are competing at the world's strongest man are UK. And if you look at representative to scale of country, population, and various other things, it's disproportionately high the number of Brits that have won world's strongest man. Now, there's all kinds of, I've watched lots of studies and lots of channels that have gone into that. The old superhuman, super strong thing was very much focused around that, the old TV program. But ultimately, a lot of it also comes down to if you have a nucleus, a hotbed of talent within a country, usually the people in the immediate periphery of that talent will skyrocket. We've seen many examples in our sport. And it's funny for me. I mean, a lot of people, one of the things that always makes me laugh is people, when I see fans, are always really complimentary, which is great. And I love meeting the fans at these shows. But genuinely, a lot of the new fans think I'm just a commentator or an MC. They don't appreciate that I spent, more than 30 years of my life as an athlete at world level. So I'm a purist. I love the sport. If I went to the World Championships and I wasn't there commentating, MCing, or doing anything else, I can sit from 9 a.m. to the close of the show every day through the Masters, through the juniors. I don't care, and I'm good.
I
Give
still
me a
do
bottle
that.
of water and
I
a
still
kebab, and
go.
I'm good to go, mate.
I still go.
Yeah,
Every year, yeah. I'm technical director of the Turkish team, and I
yes,
go Europeans and the worlds.
and it's
And
great because you
yeah,
see the talent, the emerging talent. I mean,
yeah.
your job as a matchmaker. One of the things that you need to do the job as exceptionally as you're able to do it is to
I mean,
have the
that's not why I
knowledge
go.
from
That's not why I
inside
go.
and from
Yeah,
visually to be able to
yeah.
see the different levels, the different technical elements within there. Um, it's interesting. That kind of thing is very, very important. If
But
you don't
Eagle,
appreciate that, you can't matchmake well.
yeah, yeah. That's not why I go. I'm technical director, so I go with the Turkish team.
Yeah.
While there, I also watch, but I can watch and understand everything from YouTube videos as well. That is like
Mhm.
we understand everything. We don't need to be in person there, but I have to be as an official, and like since 1993, yeah. And yeah. People like they also think I'm organizer. The new guys think
Yeah,
that
that you're a
engine.
promoter,
Yeah,
but they
they think
don't.
I'm promoter, but yeah, like I I still don't consider myself as a promoter. Probably I have been organizing the best events in the world, but um, I have been involved with other things that I think that to me at least was more important than what I do right now.
Mate,
Anyway,
you're the most
so
obsessed athlete I've ever seen. Ever.
did you know that? Did you know that? Like I have done all the right arm final matches in Asian Championship 2015, I guess. The Asian Championship Continental. I was the head referee. I did as a ref. I have trained more than 10 world and European champions as a
Yeah.
trainer as well. Yeah,
What we were talking about a moment ago.
yeah.
What we talked about a moment ago, where I said if you have a nucleus of talent in an area, you will often see that. If you looked at, you know, Lorenzo Villar in Spain, there was a number of guys came through, and Ginito, Jaime, Jose San German, the guys that were over there that were excellent. People came from them. If you look at Yanis Amelins in Latvia and others also, they were there was a spawning of people there. Myself in the UK when I was very active. If you look at Svetan Gashevsky in Bulgaria, there were various people, hotbeds of talent. I always remember a friend of mine, Robert Redden, and very good arm wrestler, exceptional puller back in the day. And at one time, Craig Touye started with Redden. He was one of Robert Redden's boys. And at the time, there was an absolute hotbed of talent around that area, because of the fact that they had Rhodes training there, Redden, Touye, and others, Olin Lucas and various others. It was awesome. And you often see that, Look at the Cheers to You team, that Robert Baxter, John Brezink, Bobby Brown, At one time you had, obviously, Todd Zilla there, Bongard, who can forget the cowboy. That's what I'm talking about.
There is a message. Big Bro goes Neil.
Okay.
Big ups on the camera improvement. I always look forward to this episode. Engin, do you have an update on how John's back surgery went? I wrote him a message. I don't know. Probably he had countless messages. I don't know if he's still in pain or anything, but I didn't hear anything back. One guy wrote here a while ago. I think Benji deleted. He said, "Engin, you are a Vitali hater. You want Michael to win." Like I don't understand what I am.
Hey, that's a great match. I can tell you.
Some
It's a
people
very,
say that,
very
like,
interesting match.
some people.
Interesting is the right word. That's
Neil, some people says that I support East, and now this guy says I support West, and yeah, that's just comical, Anyway, so let's start. Uh, let's start with the predictions. By the way, generally, you said you found it high level cards, right?
Oh my God. I mean, I think it's beyond contestation for anybody who knows the sport of arm wrestling. It's the best, the highest level of elite arm wrestling competition that the world has ever seen, without any question.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for elite level competition in the sport of arm wrestling, it is without any reasonable doubt the highest consistent level of super match competition that the sport has ever seen, particularly
I think
in the super heavyweight division.
We should thank you about this. You and probably also Asen and Igor, that you guys were kind of the starters of the super match.
I was the originator of the super match, without any question.
In the past, it was all about the tournament, and then it became this way. So let's start. Zurab and Georgi Tautiev. Zurab Tabariza versus Georgi Tautiev.
I mean, talk about clash of styles right out of the gate. You've got. Firstly, I'm a huge fan of both these guys for very different reasons. Very different reasons. In Zurab Tabariza, you've got a real warrior, bit of a throwback. He's the epitome of Georgia in many ways. Real warrior. Guy that always steps up, wants to pull everyone. I mean, you look at that guy's career in East versus West. Prior to the arm break, good Lord, that man was in some battles. I mean, the Ron Bath match?
Yeah, it was probably one of the best super matches ever.
Mega. Absolutely mega match. His match with John was awesome. The guy is entertaining. Pull from anywhere, all gears forward, and very much about the top end strength. His results at other competitions at that time were peaking. He was testing himself everywhere and anywhere. Probably overdid it, actually. Probably competed a little too much. And it cost him. And unfortunately, he was badly injured. Now, his opponent is an outlier. Absolute outlier. As you know, he's always been one of my favourite arm wrestlers because he's a technician. And I love the boxers. I love the guy that's technically, Mendegas Terasaitis, Yanis Amelins, Svetan, all the guys that are technically proficient and have arm wrestled in that way are guys that I've a great deal of respect for, time for, and I've always had a massive amount of admiration. And in Talchev, you've got the old saying, it's you're a one-trick pony. And yes, he is a one-trick pony. But it is a hell of a trick. The guy is built for what he does. He's a purist top roller who is built to top roll in a very, very unique manner. And he's putting on size, he's putting on weight and growing into his frame a little. And I always think that's exciting. We've seen the development of Vitali Laletin from doing the same thing. And I love this matchup. I'm always concerned for Zurab because of the magnitude of that injury. It was, and this is a guy who might blast his wrist wide open in a strap and jump all over him. Yeah, it's a bravery check. I'm sure his arm's fully healed. I'm sure he's good. But there's a lot of haunting goes on in your mind. After I'd had my arm break and the damage, it haunts you. It messes with you, messes with your head. It's hard to get over that. It's hard to blow those cobwebs away. So that's an interesting thing. I believe that both guys have things in their favor. I think Talchev, the pressure gauge has gone through the roof because he came in with an extraordinarily tough ask and his wrist was collapsed. He was beaten by a guy who really is ever improving. I don't think he should put too much pressure on himself because of that result. The guy he's pulling now, whilst he remains a massive challenge, it's a very different challenge, and it's actually the type of challenge I think he's going to be a lot more comfortable with technically. And I do give him a slight edge. So I think Talchev, 55-45 favourite for me. Don't be surprised if I'm wrong and Zurab manages to close him down. Zurab has been pulling against tall, rangy guys all his life, and he's found a way to beat them. So there's no... my only question around that really is the fact that I wonder how he is mentally after the break. I don't know.
I had them on podcast recently. They were 2-2.
Yeah.
Against each other from the past events.
Yeah, that was what. Well, I knew that. I was aware of those matches, but Zurab, in his favour, is that he's much more experienced in East versus West, and I hope he is aware. And if he is, this will give him the advantage that he's got like nothing to prove. Often you find that with guys though that even when they have nothing to prove, the biggest thing to prove it is them to themselves. And you find that then, I mean, Jesus, you're the biggest example of that maybe we've ever seen. I mean, you've won everything there is to win 10 times over, but you judge yourself. You always want to go again. You always question, could I have beaten Samusha in his prime? You're that guy. And I'm a little that guy, and everybody that competes is a little that guy. And it's just where Zurab Tabariza is on that spectrum. If he can relax a little and just think, yeah, this is another day at the office. I've been here many times before. Just relax. I think there will be more pressure on Talchev.
Ryan Bull Bellinger says
Powerful man right there.
He says the two goats love you all. Thank you very much, my friend. This guy is very strong guy. This guy is very strong guy. Yeah. I mean, I expected his match. I expected his match with Ray to be closer, but he was just too much.
I also expected it to be closer. Ryan was mega. Very, very powerful.
Yeah. Okay, now we have Petro Marharin versus Lachlan Adair.
Now, this is a really... this is a better match than people might expect. And I'll tell you why I believe that. So, everyone has their lane. There's so many guys knocking around, all you guys all over the world will know that guy in the gym. We've got one in England whose name is Lee Webber, Diesel Lee Webber. And if Webber gets you in his spot, he's world class. He may have frailty elsewhere, but in that spot, man's a bad guy. Now, when you see Lachlan Adair beaten, it tends to be when he's taken out of his lane or he's out arm wrestled. too much explosivity, too much athleticism. He doesn't do well off the B-side. He's not a good B-side arm wrestler. I'm a big fan of Lachlan Adair because mentally, he's very much in the right place. He's got the right head for the game, and he's very much a student of the sport. With Marharin, he's pulling a guy who is unbelievably strong, probably the stronger of the two, in my opinion. In fact, there is an argument there that he may be the strongest in the division, period. There is an argument that could be the case.
Talking
If you're
about
talking
Petro,
about
maybe
diesel
maybe the
top end.
strongest. You are
Sorry?
saying that Petro might maybe the strongest. You are
In
saying.
my opinion, yes.
Yeah, but in the same category there is Devon.
Yes.
Still.
Let me
Possible?
articulate what I'm talking about, which was what I was going on to do there.
Okay.
I'm talking about diesel power, top end diesel power. Leverage takes that away, but it doesn't in this situation because both of these men haven't got a significant lever advantage over the other. Does it make sense? So if you look at someone like Petrenko is a guy who, again, you could say may have best in class strength, might be the strongest possible. It's possible. If you were able to measure what he can get down when he's in his lane, and that's the thing, when he's in his lane, he may be the strongest, but he lacks leverage, and that is critical here. It will be critical when Zurab pulls against Tautiev. If it comes down to power, there's no competition.
Yeah, but I will
Zurab
tell you
is
something.
stronger.
A lot of people are in their lane, like maybe the strongest. If Mindaugas can top roll Yanis or someone, he's the strongest. If Arthur can hook, he is the strongest. So that's what I try to understand. If you are talking about absolute best, or you're talking about like a powerful guy.
I'm talking about the amount of power, just force generated in your lane when you're in your perfect position. Forget levers, forget the other elements. Now, the interesting thing is here that Lachlan has often talked about the fact that he believes he's got unbelievable strength. I remember Ryan Bowen used to always talk about the fact that he believed that Lachlan had unbelievable strength. Wasn't the best arm wrestler, but had unbelievable strength. And since then, obviously, it's a much better version of Lachlan. Now, I think with Marharin, Lachlan will have a slight speed advantage. I actually think he'll initiate quicker, as he did with Kostadinov. I believe that Kostadinov and Lachlan was a really good indication of how good this match could be. I think this could be a battle, because I love that match. Kostadinov and Lachlan was a great match. And I think this is going to be, Marharin is slower, if anything, than Krasinov.
I'm not sure about slower. I don't remember, like, I mean, Marharin has so strong wrist that when the match starts, he already takes to his winning
But I
side.
think he's so confident in his arm, he will allow Lachlan to hit it. And
I'm not sure.
We'll see. We will see. I think Lachlan's going to be able to accelerate into his strength pretty good here. Is he strong enough? Is he experienced enough? I guess we find out. In my opinion, he's an underdog. I think Marharin starts, in my opinion, as a 60-40 favourite.
No, but still, Lachlan is there,
Oh my
because
God!
I will tell you
Lachlan
something.
might win. He's super strong.
If Marharin was pulling against a pure top roller, then I would say that he doesn't have so much chance.
Well, the reason I've got him picked as a as the favourite is exactly what you talked about a moment ago. I couldn't agree more. I think Marharin's wrist is stronger and he's bigger. His structure is bigger. He is a. Let's talk about the build of the athlete. Lachlan is not a big man particularly, but he has an enormous amount of muscle stacked on a smaller frame. Marharin doesn't maybe look so physically impressive in terms of the lean muscle mass, but the man is like a giant farrier, like a giant blacksmith. He just is just a big, thick set mother fluffer. And that's the thing, There are some dudes that you stand next to, and Marharin is one of those guys. Like Ziranov is. You stand next to Ziranov and you're like, holy shit. He's just structurally thick set, dude. Marharin's kind of got a little bit of that about him. He's got that structural, thick set frame. Looks like Shrek. Just a big, powerful looking dude.
Yeah.
And,
So you are
and he
saying
is very, very strong.
60% to 40%?
I've got
You are saying?
60-40
Yeah.
Marharin. Yeah.
Okay. By the way, guys already started talking about Michael Todd and Vitali on the chat, but we will go to that, as the
Yeah, we got it.
latest
There's
one.
so many great matches on this card.
Latest
cannot
one.
miss them.
Yeah. And tomorrow, Michael and Laletin will be my guests on this channel. Yeah.
Very interesting. Michael's been quite cagey of late. He's
Yeah.
he's not gonna. He doesn't talk the talk a great deal. He's very respectful, but guy's not lacking confidence.
No. I mean, if you know the guy, I mean, you know that he's a warrior. He would never go to a match, But okay, let's go to Noskaz versus Matt Mask.
Dude. I mean, dude. What a match that is. I love this match. This is probably my favorite match.
Can I ask you something? Do you think that when they are on the stage and trying to get their grip, and they are coming table, if the camera would turn to the crowd, do you think that many of them would have a smile on their face?
No, mate. This is probably my favorite match on the card.
Mm-hmm.
In any sport, you've got guys that, for whatever reason, you just want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these men have that in spades. Both of these men are incredibly endearing dudes. Whenever you watch Matt Mask, whenever Matt Mask is firing, whenever Matt Mask is on, when he's really buzzing, I mean, no better example than Texas, In Arlington, number one, Matt Mask is a genuinely lovely guy. I mean, that bloke is I know he's raw and he's rough and I love Matt Mask. As a guy, forget arm wrestling. Matt Mask, the type of guy I just really like him as a bloke, as a person. Very, very good lad. Really solid, stout fella. Massive amount of time for Matt Mask. I couldn't be a bigger fan of the Wild Horse if I tried. As an arm wrestler, he's one of the most exciting, visceral, engaging arm wrestlers that has ever been. His frame is huge. He's got an aura about him. He walks into a room and he's bristling. He's like a pissed off honey badger. I mean, he's just absolutely on it. And when he's firing, it is an incredible draw. Nobody can sleep on that guy. Nobody. He's got serious abilities. Now, Nugo Shikadze has opposite set of spectrum visuals. You look at him, pretty short, pretty unassuming looking guy. Looks kind of wrongly built, how he's put together, sort of hunched over, twitching away. But that dude draws you in. You cannot you can't not be a fan of that guy. I challenge anybody to go and watch a Nugo Shikadze match live and not come away and want to buy a Nugo Shikadze t-shirt. That dude is fucking awesome. He's awesome. When you're at the East versus West events, you can hear when he comes on, all of the Georgian team ignite, all of them. He's like this little power source for Georgia. And when he comes on, he supercharges the whole goddamn team. If you were the coach of Team Georgia, you would always put Nugo Shikadze first. Put him out first. Because I don't care whether he wins, he'll still ignite everyone. Twitching and ticking like a mother. And you can't not love him. He's friggin' awesome. Absolute. Do not know him as a person. Don't speak Georgian, and he doesn't speak English. And I can't tell you what he's like as a guy. But in my mind, he's fucking awesome. I'm a massive fan of that twitching little bastard, and I think he's ace. And I think this match can go either way because Shikadze is so strong in positions he shouldn't be. And my God, he's strong. I mean, he is acid powerful and aggressive, angry bastard. A lot like yourself. Might be your brother. Not sure.
So who's winning?
Dude, I have no idea. This is the 50th, 50th. I mean, this is. I can see both guys have lanes. Nugo, if he can hang on to the center, maybe he can shut
Can you say
down.
this way? If Nugo has his wrist after the go, he has more chance.
Yes,
But there
he's
is a
more powerful.
possibility that Matt will take the risk, and in such case,
Yes.
Nugo believes that even if his wrist goes, he's gonna win that way. I'm not sure about that one.
If his wrist goes, I think Matt wins.
Yeah, that I mean, he needs to be a really shoulder pressure specialist to do that to Matt.
Yeah,
There are some
Matt is.
people.
I mean, Nugo's got great pronation and he's got massive back pressure, but Matt is so venomous. And right now, I think Matt's in a very good place.
Yeah, but both are great. I think the Matt right now is in his best shape. That's what I believe. I
Who
just
do I
had him
want to
as a
win?
guest. As a guest, he looked very healthy. I don't know. He looks different. I don't exactly know the reason, but he looks healthy. He looks, I don't know. He looks maybe even happier, more
Yeah,
positive.
he definitely that. He looks more relaxed. He
Yeah,
looks into
yeah.
his arm wrestling. He's shown up at events. His daughters were at shows. Just looks in a really good spot. He was there with his lady at the last show. He looked in great spirits, really enjoying his arm wrestling. Obviously, I've got, many years of friendship with Matt under my belt. I know him inside out, and I'm team Matt. I want Matt to win. That's no disrespect to Nugo Shikadze. Love the kid. Love him.
Okay, and Will says looking forward to seeing both of you in Istanbul. Thank you, my friend. Hope to see you. And yeah,
I just want to address a comment that was in the chat there.
what did they
So
say?
it from I want to say it's exact. Neil Nugo has even more massive side pressure than back pressure. That's his main strength. I know that he's got massive side pressure, mate. He needs to have when your arm's that long. But the issue that you've got is Matt has unbelievable hand strength and massive aggression. So when Matt is hitting back, if he can find his position, Matt will palm Nugo up because the height advantage that Matt has got is way above anybody that Nugo has faced in East versus West right now.
But some people think that it's a
Huge height,
disadvantage.
huge leverage.
Neil, some people think it's a disadvantage when you are pulling a short guy because you have to, you know.
It can be. But if Matt gets his hit and blasts the wrist back, I believe that Matt will palm him up. And your side pressure or Nugo's side pressure and most people's side pressure tends to be massively diminished when they're palm up.
Josh Cook says, "Hey Neil and Engin, hope you all are well. So when are we gonna see Neil pick up versus Travis Badgett? Since both of you have agreed to it, heal up soon, brother."
Mate, if I'm healed
Um,
up, I'll do it tomorrow.
yeah, and no one is special. Hi Engin, we hope to see Wallace having a super match with a strong European soon. He is looking impressive. Yes, he has won the qualification event, and I plan to set him a match for the June event in US. Okay, so let's go. You were there, so this is very easy to talk with you about these matches predictions. You know the athletes from East and West, and Joseline versus Egle.
Wow.
Like, okay, I will tell you what I think. I think Jocelyn is very, very stronger, very stronger. But I still think that she to me, I consider her still new in the sport.
Absolutely.
But this is not a negative thing. When you are new in the sport, it only means that you have a lot of room to improve.
I couldn't
That
agree
that's
more.
that's a good thing, yeah. And when you are still new and you winning against Sarah,
Hmm.
it just shows your potential.
Yeah.
But now when we are talking about Egle, we are talking a different level than Sarah,
Oh yeah,
like
way different.
higher level. But also Joseline was like, especially before round three, like she looked dominant. Like round
Yeah.
three went, and then round three was kind of like difficult. I think in the first start it was because Sarah jumped into hook, but like Egle is not that puller.
No.
Egle is outside puller. But when so, how do you see match in shorts?
Very much like you've just described. I think Joseline is. Brisson is in a great position because she can't really lose, in my opinion. I mean, I know she can in her mind, but she can't. She can't lose. She's fast tracked to the top of the sport in the ladies, and she may be good enough to win it all. She's hugely powerful. She's a very very strong lady, and she's a very athletic girl. You can see she moves really well. She's going to be fire. She's very new to the sport. She's pulling a girl who's got really big levers, very, very big frame, massive amount of experience. And if you remember the match with Sarah and Egle, there was the
Mhm.
round where she attacked, and then you heard her go, "Oh wow, you know, this is a different level." But the interesting thing is here that we haven't seen Joss Brisson's level. We don't know where it really is.
Who's
I think
Egle? Egle?
no, we know Egle, Brisson.
Oh,
We don't know
oh,
where
but
Brisson's level is. She hasn't got out of second gear. That match over there, she was very, very comfortable.
okay. So,
Very, very comfortable.
so it didn't show you anything.
Yeah, you saw some stuff. You saw that she has weaknesses in her game. I spoke to her after it actually, and I said that. But I do believe that we don't know how I've not seen her scratching right now. I've not seen how much more she had. She's going to be tested more. There's no doubt about that. But I do believe that we've not. It's the tip of the iceberg, and I also believe she's on a fast track. I think she's progressing like hell. She's finding her feet, and it's
Mhm.
very exciting to see girls like that come into the sport and
Yeah,
to
yeah,
see her develop.
yeah.
Very exciting, and
And
I'm
who's
really
winning,
looking
Neil?
forward to following Joss. I think she's a lovely girl as well. If you when you speak to her, she's a great girl.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
very very hungry to succeed, and hopefully she comes to Istanbul with no pressure. I see her as an underdog. Um, that'll piss Jocelyn off because she's a proud girl. I hope it does, and I hope she brings it. And you never know. I wouldn't be surprised if she won. It wouldn't be like, no way, Jocelyn Brisson won. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all. I haven't seen exactly how good she is. It is testament to how bloody strong she is that she did what she did with Sarah, who was in condition, and the fact that she's just about to go into a match with Egle, who is one of the most dominant female arm wrestlers that there's ever been. And I'm not sure that Brisson will lose. I think Jocelyn's got a real shot. Got a real
Mhm,
shot.
mhm. Yeah. I mean, I also about the underdog. You said that it would piss her off. You to think that she's underdog.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I will tell you something. Being underdog, it really takes all the pressure away from you.
that's the plan in a way because she's.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to see Jocelyn succeed. Not this is just an arm wrestling match. I'm talking about
Hmm.
in the sport. One match, irrelevant. You know, both these girls are. I don't have a favorite in terms of the girls. They're both lovely girls. I know Egle
Hmm.
very well. She's a lovely girl. I know
Yeah.
Jocelyn less well. Seems a great kid. So,
Egle is one of female gods.
oh,
There are a few of them in
without
my
doubt,
book, at least. Yeah, there are a few of
without
them,
doubt,
and
one of
yeah.
the most limiting factors for her is inactivity.
But do you know what? when she lost against Gabriela, and then when I knocked her door for another super match, I said, "Have you been training?" He said, "Engin, I never stopped training.
Mhm.
I have a match or not, I never stop training." She said she's always training.
Yeah.
So that is good, that's
Training's
great.
training. Competition's a different thing.
Hmm.
Inactivity is real, and ring rust is real. And
Someone
when
like
you're, I think
Egle.
so.
Egle, listen, we saw Egle European Championships and World Champions twice a year. Like she never had the competition, anyways.
No.
She was just coming and doing this and going. She like 12 years ago, when I organized an event here, when John and Krasimir pulled,
Mhm.
and in the same event, Egle and Sarah pull again, and we did a press conference, and I asked her how many world title she had, and she said she stopped counting long time ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
But
she
my
has probably
point is
more
exactly
than
that, mate.
20 world
One of
titles.
her limiting factors,
Yeah.
Egle's limiting factors, is inactivity. Not by choice. It's just she doesn't have
But there is nothing. I'm
to
telling
offer.
you, she was inactive for between Gabriela and the Sarah match. She came and you saw the match with Sarah.
Oh yeah.
She even went to inside and
Do
wait.
you not
I
think
was
she
like,
could be? Do you not think she'd be better if there was a super deep competitive class in the ladies? It doesn't
I
exist, but if it
listen.
did, I think
What
she
I'm
could go
just
better.
saying that this girl has been doing this way for many years already. So I don't think
Yeah.
there is any problem with that. Anyway, so the problem about the activity for the plus 80 kilo ladies is that there are only handful, less than
Correct. That's
fingers on
that's
my hand.
basically the
Yeah,
point I'm
yeah.
making, Amy.
So you need to do a lot of rematch there because
Yeah,
there is
which
Barbara
is
is
not good
here.
for the girls. You know what I mean? They're not.
Barbara is
You're
here.
able to progress if the field is deep.
Neil, Barbara is here, and Gabriela is right here, and then we have Egle here, and then we have Sarah here. So like Gabriela was too much for Egle. Barbara was better than that, and then Egle was too much for Sarah.
Hmm.
So, like, and they already pull against each other. So, like, it doesn't make sense to set so many times. You understand? Like,
Hmm.
Barbara and Gabriel already pulled twice. Both times, Barbara won, and then uh, Barbara dominated Egle.
Hmm.
So there is no match. Maybe Egle versus Gabriela again can make sense. And
Yeah.
Sarah was not their level. It was just they were. But now Joseline getting involved is making things more exciting.
Yeah.
More exciting.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see another 30. And if you did see another 30, and they come as the sport keeps growing, and older girls come from other sports, in my opinion, all these girls will get better. All of them. Because they become more active. Iron sharpens iron, and desire sharpens iron. If you have got a situation where you're going into exciting matches all the time, you are pushed on. When the bar rises, the athletes rise to the bar. And it's
Mhm.
always happened in all sports. I just
Yeah.
want to address JP Winters in the comments because I've had this before. So there's a cultural thing on descriptors around women. He says they are women, not girls. Well, they are girls and women. They are both. Listen, I interview strong women all the time in competition. And when the girls themselves are on the mic, mate, this is the actual athletes. They talk about the other girls. They say da 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 and the other girls. So they describe themselves as girls.
Hmm.
Nobody's being inappropriate here, brother.
No.
They are girls and they are women.
Yeah. But the other point, and I will go to the next match. These girls are training, and they have been training, and they were going European and worlds, and their match was like this. So the training partners guys were tougher than their competition girls. You
Yes.
understand? So what I'm just saying that what Egle is doing right now, I don't think she's inactive. What is she's doing? She's still training and
No,
having
I
those
think we're
those.
we're on a different page a little bit, mate.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
this,
yeah.
it's
That.
my inability to articulate it to some extent. What I'm saying is that if we had, unfortunately, we don't have it. But if we have, and as the sport grows, more Jocelyn Brissons come in.
Yeah.
more girls
Yeah,
like
yeah, but,
that,
this you whenever you
the
you
sport
describe this,
will
you
grow.
describe as inactivity of her. This is same for all other girls in the category. That is not
Yes.
her problem. So whenever you say that her disadvantage, so it sounds something special about her, not for the category, but the category generally, yes, they has that problem. They
Yeah.
don't have
All these girls,
yeah.
or for JP, all these women are limited by inactivity due to the fact that there simply are not that many elite
Hmm.
elite ladies.
Yeah,
You could
yeah,
say the same for many of the super heavyweight men.
yeah.
And
But
one of the problems for someone like a Brian Shaw, who is
hmm
looking, or a Levan, who can he go out and train with regularly? It's very,
hmm
very difficult once you get to that ultra elite level. When you get to the best in the world in your country, if you're at world class I know there was times in my career where, honestly, in the UK, would travel internationally to do that because it's easy.
hmm
And it's always a problem when you get to a certain level. It's tough. The climb is easier than hanging on. It really is.
hmm 1 second. Okay, let's go to the next one. Um, 1 second. The next is Georgi Svetko versus David Dadikan. But I heard something yesterday. It was very surprising. Yeah. I heard from someone who is close to Denis Siplenko
Mm-hmm.
that Denis Siplenko told this person that David Dadikan right now 130 kilo.
Wow.
130 kilo. That is, and you know what? I'm not super surprised because about 2 months ago, when I was discussing with David Dadikian about his next match, and he told me, Engin, eventually I want to pull Vitali Lalesin. Yeah, this is what he said, and people. I talk with some people, and they think that Dadikian has potential to become number one in the open category with left hand.
I think it's hard to disagree with that, isn't it?
I mean, there is a possibility for sure. For
I
sure,
mean,
there is a possibility. Yeah.
Dadikan is an unbelievably strong man. Unbelievably strong man. He's an athlete, isn't he? I mean, you look at the guy; he looks like a physical specimen. You know, he's not the biggest frame in the world. That's one of the problems that he has. In fact, he's so strong he pulls his body apart on occasion. But in terms of Dadikan's power as a strength athlete, the man is phenomenal. He's got great aggressive characteristics. I always love that. I'm a big fan of aggressive arm wrestlers, and he's definitely that. He's got that ironclad edge about him. Um, Man is incredibly strong. It's hard to deny that he's got huge potential. His match with Morozov, he was dominating. I know that maybe not the Morozov that we saw recently, but he was dominating at that time until the midway point. We just saw a very, very impressive performance against Alex, who's no bum on the left arm. So without doubt, David Dadikan is really, really strong. Um, he's got to be taken very seriously. I'm a huge fan of Georgi Svetkov, one of my favorite arm wrestlers in the world. As a guy, lovely, warm, endearing individual. In my opinion, not as dominant on his left arm as he is on his right.
Did you know that his
Superb hand and wrist,
left arm used to be even maybe a
probably his
little bit
best.
better?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't think now. I think his
Maybe
right
not
arm
now,
is
but I think
a
it's
little bit.
coming back. The reason that like it stayed behind was the injury. Some
Yes.
years ago there was
Yeah.
injury, but this guy has a win against Levan with left arm
Oh yeah.
in 2015 Europeans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask you something. Whenever you look at David Dadikan in person, like like his arms
Oh,
from forearm to upper arm, like does it like take your attention and you go like, what the fuck, like what is this,
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
The
like,
man is a physical specimen, mate.
yeah,
He's a,
like like
you get guys in any sport that are a little bit outlier. I always remember I used to play football with a guy. His name was Alan Palmer, and Alan Palmer. Everyone we got, he played. This guy played on the left of midfield for us, and every single team we played against, you would see him look at Alan Palmer and they'd check his legs out and they'd be like, "What the fuck?" And all you thought is, I hope this guy's clean. I hope he does not jump into tackles because his legs were murderously massive. You looked at and they were disproportionate on the man. He looked like he could kick a wall down, like frigging
and
Tong Po.
and,
He looked
and what do you
frightening as hell.
Neil, what do you think that we will see if Dadikan is really 130 kilo? That we will see something even more weird, And some people comes up, oh, Dadikan, oh, Prudnik beat him. Like, listen, we are not talking about 105 kilo Dadikan.
No,
We are talking about the
different thing.
different, So, so who is winning that match?
I'm going to go with a very, very, very narrow edge to Gorgi.
So Georgie has more chance than David.
Very narrow edge to Gorgi. Very narrow.
I will ask you something. Do you agree that Kurdecha with left arm is more confident with his right arm? So right arm, he is more top row specialist. With left arm, he's just more like, going more like side and that. So he is not really risk taking specialist. And that also gave advantage to David Dadikan to use his wrist. If you
Yeah.
remember, even a lighter Morozov was able to hook Kurdecha in round one without the strap.
Mm-hmm.
So what I just tried to tell you that even a bigger version of Morozov had no chance to hook Vitali. That's why he made all his game plan to outside.
The only
So,
reason
but
that I'm going with Gorgi is because he's brilliant at taking people's hand and wrist.
yeah, this is exactly what I'm saying. That Kurdecha stronger maybe with the wrist and side pressure and everything, but he is not with left arm. He's not really specialist. So while Georgi's all game plan is
Single track, and he's going
yeah,
to take your hand.
yeah. So
And
what I'm just saying, I'm not saying
Dadikan is not a natural super heavyweight. He's a smaller man. So
yeah,
he's got to work very hard. 5-round match, yeah?
yeah. Best of five, yeah.
So he's got to work very hard 3 times to get the brakes on Georgi and to get him B-side and to finish him without taxing his hand and wrist. Now, if he does that, if he comes in weighing 130 kilos, I can't comment on how strong that guy, because I've never seen that guy. That guy could come in and be just otherworldly strong and blow through Georgi. But I believe that Georgi will diligently work the living daylights out of Dadikan's arm. Dadikan is without question stronger, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Georgi is more committed right now to arm wrestling in a number of respects than he's ever been. And I think, as you say, his left is improving. He told me his left is improving. And I believe that he will squeak victory. It will be really close.
Yeah,
I think that he's got one shot and he's very good at doing it. And I think he's a naturally much bigger man. And I think it may be taxing for David's hand and wrist over the duration. Maybe wrong. We will see.
Mm-hmm.
Going 45-55 in favor of Svetkov.
Okay. Kamil Yablonski, Georgi Zerano. I'm curious about your opinion about this match.
So this is left arm, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. I've got Jablonski.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got Jablonski, and I may be biased here, but I rate Kamil Jablonski astronomically highly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think he's getting better and better and better. And do not be surprised if in a couple of years that's the overall champion of the world on the left arm.
I mean, listen, like he missed by this margin, in Dubai.
Dude is
It
strong as frig,
yeah,
and he's attitudinally
but
exceptional.
a lot of people thinks that like we haven't seen Kamil in a deep hook, and
And
they
I'm
are
not
saying
sure we will here.
no. I know we are not sure, but what if?
If that happens, Iranov is probably stronger in
But it
that
depends
position.
where the match stops, right? Like
Yes.
here, some people think that if Kamil cannot flop, his chance will, but he may be going this and still pressing. Do you remember one round that Gennady tried to go inside and Jerry still press him that way? So
I,
just
I
because
think
their
there's a
wrist is
great
short,
chance
it
that that
doesn't mean
happens.
that they cannot press.
Hmm.
So do you
I
agree?
think there's a great chance that that happens, mate.
Yeah. So what I just say that if Georgi Dezarano catches Kamil at the center before Kamil can put all his body, and then
Hmm.
he controls Kamil's pronator, then I think Georgi has a good chance to win.
Yes.
But if somehow Georgi is on bicep and the Kamil is all on his, I don't know if he can lift Kamil's press. I don't know. We will see.
I've got 60-40
For
in favour
Kamil.
of Kamil Jablonski.
Yeah. Okay.
And I may be biased. I'm a huge fan of Kamil.
Mhm.
I think Kamil's a
I
bad
will
mother.
tell you something. Kamil and his family is great for arm wrestling. Kamil and his family, Kamil, his wife, and you see his daughter is also arm wrestler.
Yeah.
You see their family, how they are supporting each other, how they are promoting arm wrestling non-stop. I think that Yablonsky family is very good for sport of arm wrestling. This
I'm a
is yeah,
massive
yeah,
fan of the
yeah,
Golden Dragon
yeah,
and his crew. I
yeah,
think they're
yeah,
friggin' iron. And
yeah.
I believe that Jablonski wins that match impressively.
And do you know that he has a hard job?
Mate,
Yeah, he
he's
works very late, and then he goes
Poland as a
home.
country have experienced unbelievable hardship. And many of the guys that I know, I have a lot of friends from Poland. I know a lot of very good dudes from Poland. And one thing they all have in common: the Polish people are very hardy, grafting, straight people. And yeah, I think he is a very good example of that. He typifies that.
Yeah,
And
he
I
works
think
all
that
day,
you'll
very
see that
tough.
in his arm wrestling.
Neil, he works all day, very tough. He goes late to home, and then he does all kind of lips and everything, and films them. They edit them. I don't know who is editing, and then he puts on social media. He always has time for promoting arm wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah,
Obsessed, mate. He's
yeah,
obsessed.
yeah.
And
But
he's
this
getting
is what we
better
respect.
and he's
Yeah,
getting more confident. And yeah, I think that Camille is don't sleep on that guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And he deserves it.
Hmm.
Anyway, so let's go. It's getting like I don't know, more and more exciting. Pauline versus David Samusha, 95 kilo.
Excuse me. They don't really get much better than that, do they? I
Listen,
mean, that's a match. I mean, they don't get much better than that. If you're looking
very
on
close
paper
match.
and you're pulling two guys together for every friggin' possible consideration that you can have, it simply doesn't get that much better than that.
Neil, my opinion, yes, Sasha beat Paul 3-2, and it was very close match. Very
Hmm.
close match. But it was 95 category.
Yeah,
David beat Sasha also
in an
after a very, very tough match, but
incredible
it
match.
was a 85 kilo category.
Hmm.
So for sure, my opinion, Pauline is stronger than any opponent that David has faced in 85 kilo. I'm
Yes,
not saying that he's better than 95 kilo Sasha. But so the question here, how much better David will be when he is pulling in 95 kilo compared to his 85 kilo So what I just say that Paul Lynn 95 kilo, David 85 kilo. I think Paul wins.
Yeah. Well,
My
he
opinion.
won. He
But
won.
when
I always remember.
when
I don't know why, but I had a brain fart, and I had him that David won it 3-2, but he actually lost 3-2, didn't he?
no, Paul won 3-2. Yeah,
Paul won
but
3-2. Yeah.
yes. But I will say something like yes, it was David's first match, also Paul's first match at the East versus
Yeah.
West. But Paul had been more active even during the pandemic, while Samusha kind of stopped everything
Yeah.
after pandemic because there was no European, no WAF, and then WAF banned Georgia for some reason, and then of course they later were allowed and come back. But what I just try to say, Paul improved a lot. David already had the international experience.
Mm-hmm.
Zloty champion, European champion, world champion,
Yeah.
incredible guy. He even placed third in the overalls of Zloty tour.
Yeah.
And so Paul Lynn improved a lot. You understand?
Yes.
Listen, Neil, if 4 years ago I would tell you that Paul Lynn can give a very good match to Rustam Babayev, you would say, because I remember I asked you about me versus Paul at that time. You said that then you are more experienced, like
Yes.
you may not. But look at how far Paul has come.
Paul
Yeah.
is one of my favorite characters
Yeah.
in the sport of arm wrestling as a man.
Mm-hmm.
He's an incredibly diligent, very hard-working. Paul Lynn is a man. That's what Paul Lynn is. He's a proper bloke. He's a proper throwback. He's a principled guy. Very level-headed, hard-working, intelligent, diligent arm wrestler. Really works hard. Really advances himself. Looking at the minutiae of the sport, and he is an improving force. And some of his performances have been incredibly impressive. Incredibly impressive. I think with David Samusha, you couldn't have picked a better and more balanced test for so many reasons. Because both these guys have been improving quietly in very different ways, but over the same time frame. And putting them together now is like perfectly timed. And this is another awesome match right there. Probably my second favorite match on the card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very good one. One guy says, "What if Engin stays at 95 instead of cutting to 85?" You're talking about me? If you are talking about me, then I have never been 95 kilo. Like if I lose my unnecessary weight, I would be 75 kilo. Do you agree,
Yes.
Neil? Yeah,
You're most competitive at 75 kilos,
yeah,
70,
yeah, yeah.
70 as at your age now, 75 kilos, lighter
I
than that.
know, no, I
Back in
can
the
make.
day when you were a young man, 70 kilos, 154, you're a
Neil,
goddamn killer.
I don't think I can make 75 anymore.
Not at 50 years old, mate, no.
No, I'm like 92 kilo, 91 and a half or something like
You're
that.
old and soft and like a
Yeah.
cat like me now.
No,
You
no,
can't
I'm
do that
coming.
stuff
I'm
anymore.
coming. I'm training. And I will tell you something. I am behind, but kind of like it responds good. I think that maybe joints rested a bit.
That's good.
Yeah, I think this is how I feel, but let's see. Um, okay, so let's go. That was another great match, and let's go one more. Wow, wow, wow. All these matches, just like, like, listen.
You know the other
It,
one that I'm super excited about on this card
wait,
as
wait,
well.
wait, 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 wait. We go by order.
Okay.
But if you are an arm wrestling fan, and if you don't appreciate this card,
There's something wrong with you.
something is wrong with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, something is wrong with you. Yeah. Okay, Serhiy Kalnichenko, Ivan Matushenko. Yeah, this is a great match, and I will tell you my opinion, not about the winner, but I kind of don't see. Maybe he's gonna teach me something new, but I don't see Serhiy at 115 kilo, not the super heavyweight one, top rolling Ivan Matushenko. I don't see that one. I mean, at least in a fresh match, I don't see him top rolling. So I am thinking, and when I talk with them, they were my guests. What I felt was that Serhi is gonna go hook, but not deep hook, but more like this.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Not this, but in between, And when I heard that, I was like, okay, Serhi knows what he's doing. Will it be enough? I don't know. And now you tell us what you think.
I absolutely love Sergei Kalenichenko. I think he's one of the best characters in the sport at the moment. He's one of those guys, you know how we always speak about you've got to try to be a character, you've got to try to give the best of yourself to bring entertainment as well as excellence. Kalenichenko really does step up to the mark in that respect. The way he looks, the way he conducts himself. I think he's a star, a genuine star. Love the lad. I think that he has been searching for and has requested very high level matches. When I've seen him, he said, I want to pull a really high level athlete. Well, my God, he's got one. Not only is Matyushenko extraordinarily high level, he's also one of the trickiest arm wrestlers to work out and to counter. Period. He is an absolute assassin. My hat couldn't come off far enough to Sergei Kalenichenko for accepting this match. And if he wins this match, wow, what a statement. Do I think he is a favourite in this match? No. I think Matyushenko is a strong favourite. As much as 70%.
I think that match is closer, but let's see. Let's go to next one. Wow, Arthur Makarov, Daniel Prokopchuk.
Oh, for fuck.
Listen. If I would ask this one to someone else, you understand, I wouldn't get that excited. But I know that you share what I feel. I know that
Mate,
you share what I feel.
listen, a few weeks ago we were on the fix, right? And
Mm-hmm.
there was not many matches that had been released. But this one had. And I may be screwed up because I couldn't help myself and I started talking about it. So,
That's why I will never leak the card to you anymore.
yeah, I couldn't help myself. I mean, this is in all sports, the super heavyweight category gets a lot of focus, a lot of attention, and it always will. Okay, it's always going to get that attention, and the characters get the attention, and the bravado gets the attention, the drama, and all those other elements. But sometimes when you're right in the thick of the game, as I am, you can't help but get excited about this kind of thing. We are in like a golden age of mega matches, and we've just come off one. I talked a lot about this at the start of today and prior to the last event. Yanis Amelin's Mendegas Terasatis represents the pinnacle of the guys in this weight class. You're seeing two of the absolute slayers. Well, here we go again. I mean, if you're talking about top end power, if you're talking about genuinely abominable level, I mean, horrible, filthy. That's what we're talking about here. These guys are stupid strong, unimaginably strong. Most people in the chat won't appreciate how strong these guys are. They are ridiculous diesel strong. I can't wait. This is a mega matchup. Mega matchup. I spoke about it earlier and I said, you know what other match I'm stupidly excited about? Well, here we go. What a match. And there's another one coming. But this is the one. This match is underrated beyond belief. Because both these guys are not mastered the English language, so they're not able to heavily promote themselves. I mean, with Arthur, you're looking at a pretty understated guy anyway. Very, very quiet guy. Daniel is quite a funny, endearing, humorous guy, and he's got a lot of bounce. Very bright kid. You don't get better. It just doesn't get better than this. You are topping out. There is an argument that you are seeing the two best lightweights currently on Earth. Maybe. This might be
Listen,
it.
I have never ever seen this category to have like 5, 6 guys that they are very, very close with each
Very,
other.
very close.
Yeah. Like can you imagine that we all thought that Alan Zole was one head above all of them? This is what we
And
thought.
then Daniel batters
And then Daniel just went and then just beat him.
Beats
And
him
then
up.
Mindaugas beat Daniel, and then Arthur beat Mindaugas,
Yeah.
and then Cherkasov beat that, and then Mindaugas beat Cherkasov beat Daniel Prokopchuk. I mean, it's just like
It's ridiculous.
ridiculous.
It's
Yeah.
a
So
hamster
there
wheel
is
of excellence.
yeah.
And these two guys, it's hard to argue that these two guys might be, on any given friggin' Saturday, the absolute pinnacle of arm wrestlers at this weight class on the planet. And it's on. And how can you not love it? I love this match. I friggin' love this match. And one of the things I love about it is that I am going backwards and forwards daily on who I think wins this. Since it was announced, I'm thinking about
Because listen, do you know why you are confused? Do you know why you are confused? Because you are knowledgeable and experienced enough to know all
the
possibilities.
lanes.
This match can go there, but also can go there. But you don't know where it is gonna go. But okay, let's go. Let's go one by one. What if they both decide to go here?
I've got Daniel.
Daniel. Okay, then which way you are confused that Makarov can win?
If we can see Makarov hang on to his pronator and go straight across and straight over.
So you are saying
yes.
Yeah.
Because of the thickness of the structure of Arthur is unusually massive. It
is hard to have a grip on his hand to hook him.
Yes.
Okay, what if Daniel tries outside and Arthur tries inside?
Well, this is why. This is why. Because I've gone through these in my head. I go through these scenarios in my mind, and it's hard not to tie yourself in knots. It's extremely hard to call this with, listen, it's always a forecast. I remember
Looks like you want Daniel to
Henry
win. Is that
this.
true? Do you want Daniel to win?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's I can see. Yeah.
Yes. I make no, excuses for the fact that Daniel Prokopchuk is awesome. I love the kid. I think he's ace.
Mm-hmm.
Massive Daniel fan. I'm a big fan of the lad. I think I don't speak his language. He don't speak mine, but I love him. Don't know Arthur as well. Very, very quiet, very humble lad. I wish I could
respectful.
Speak to him.
Very, very, very respectful.
Super respectful guy.
Yeah, very
respectful. And also unbelievably good.
Yeah, very strong. Very strong, yeah. So you don't have a clear prediction.
52-48, Daniel.
52-48. Okay.
I mean, stupid. That, oh my word. Don't speak to me tomorrow. It's the other way. I don't know. I mean, who've you got? Honestly, this is 50-50 as frig. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I cannot really listen when you say that, like, if it goes to hook, Daniel wins. But the way that Arthur goes hook, if they go hook, Arthur may end up here because when you have a grip on his hand is like his brachyradial is so strong. So he may have the advantage. Like you may end up a little bit underneath. You understand? Yeah.
Mike, do you know what the deciding factor is in favor of Daniel?
Yeah.
2 things. Number 1, slight bit of biased and willing the result to happen. Number 2, and more importantly, endurance. And
I thought you were gonna say that, but look at the r-
I
round
have.
one between round one. Like, I will explain to you something.
Mm-hmm.
Like Daniel beat. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Daniel beat first 2 rounds Mindaugas,
Yep.
and then
Yeah, but I knew you were going to say.
listen. Yeah. And then look at the round one between Mindaugas and Arthur. Mindaugas actually round one was about to pin Arthur, and Arthur the match stopped. So it was what Mindaugas wanted, and then Arthur fouled, and then right from restart to the following rounds, every round was
Yeah,
even.
but
Yeah, I mean,
I think that Arthur is pulling more on structure and awkward, while Daniel is able to pull more on structure, as in joint. And I think he's got more resting capability in the joint if he can find his spot. And I think that can be a difference maker. But it all comes down to, where does the match settle? And because
yeah,
where the match settles is so critical on what element of you know what I'm talking about, where
yeah.
the burn is kicking in and where the positional advantage. The, the, I am commentating this. I know you've got Ryan coming over and all stuff.
No,
I
no,
am
you
commentating this
listen.
match.
Yeah.
This match, I'm commentating this match because
We will do everything together there,
this match is
And
a
I
friggin'
will tell you something.
magnificent match.
Arthur is. I think Arthur has interesting type of endurance. Arthur's refreshing ability is quick, like
Yes,
between the rounds. There are two types of endurance: within the match and
recovery,
between the
fitness.
matches. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. More matches. So, I don't know if you remember in 2018 WAP final,
Mm-hmm.
Mindaugas and Arthur were in the final,
Yep.
and Arthur already was A side, and Mindaugas top roll Arthur and won.
Yep.
And then rematch, and Arthur just hook him and
Yes.
beat him. Yeah. So the guy kind of, like, I don't know how, but he between the rounds he recovers quick.
Yeah.
Someone said the same thing about Vitali. I don't know if it's true or not. So let's go to the next one. This one also will excite you. Gennady Quickvinia, Ibrahim Sago. I will explain to you. I don't know if you heard this from me or not, but Gennady Quickvinia was already he already wanted to pull Devon in Tbilisi in 115 kilo.
Yeah.
So we decided to make it a super heavyweight match, and Devon was also bulking, and so Reno Masic, he got injured badly, and Reno can't defend his title anytime soon.
Yeah.
So, but Reno won, young guy. We are proud of him,
In an
and
amazing
Reno,
match.
Reno, Reno will remain the champion, but he can't defend. So we decided to do an interim title match. So
Yeah.
when I offered, listen, Reno and Ibrahim Sago was very close match.
Mm-hmm.
You were there, very
Yes.
close match.
Really
It
cool.
ended
Brilliant match.
4-3, 4-3. Yeah. So Sago, since Devon is not heavyweight anymore, but super heavyweight. If Devon was heavyweight, he deserves a title match
Mm-hmm.
right away. So Sago is the guy, and Matushenko said that he is not ready. He needs a little bit time.
Yeah.
And so, and when I asked Gennady said he would pull 115 kilo only if it is a world title match. So
Okay.
that is how we ended up this match. Yeah,
And it makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, it makes sense. Yeah,
Amazing match. Experience. You've got experience. You've got to go with Gennady Quickvinia because he's got a lot of lanes, and we know that he is. I mean, one thing that guy has proved is there is not a backward step, and we know that he can go anywhere, and he will hang on forever. The explosivity and raw top end of Ibrahim Sagov makes this a very engaging match.
yeah.
Sagov, for me, is not the finished article yet. I think he's new in the sport comparatively. I think he's getting better and better and better, and he's another guy that has a huge future. I spoke early on about Marharin having the structure to just do well. I've said before, Ibrahim, you stand near Ibrahim Sagov, and you can feel how strong this guy is. I mean, he is a beast, an absolute weapon. Man is just put together, gift from God strong, you know? He's one of those guys. He's like, walks into the room and you just look at him and you're like, Jesus Christ, that is an absolute monster. And I think he goes on to get better and better and better. Mate, this match is absolutely ace. It is awesome. I think we might see this thing swing either way. Don't be surprised if you see Sagoff early with that aggressive, deep finish, and then he gets hung up, similar to what we saw with Reno. You see Gennady maybe find a way back in. I think this could end up match of the night, this one. This, because the energy that's going to go in there and the positions. I think both men have that little bit of pride is probably the right word. That little bit of fuck it, let's go. You know, sometimes when your strategy goes out of the window when you just think, no, I need the head nod and I need to go in and I need to prove away. Alpha male points. And there's nobody on this card that has more alpha male points than these two. And I think that they will want to run each other over. And it's kind of ride or die stuff, you know. They'd rather go out on their shield than think about strategy and run around someone. These aren't guys that are going to try and look for a lane to get around and technically neutralize their opponent. They're going for war, and I think war is what we're going to get. And don't be surprised if this is the most engaging, long, drawn-out match of the night. I can't wait for it. There's 3 matches on the card that I'm most excited about. Everybody's talking about the main event. Awesome. But the match we just talked about, which is the pinnacle of lightweights, this match and Mask Nugo and Lynn Samusha are stupid matches. This card is immoral.
Yeah. I mean, I really hope that everyone understand that.
It's immoral.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to this one. I'm also very, very curious about your opinion. Very curious. Rustam Babev versus Tatashins. Hey, Neil, do I make you tired?
Dude, I mean, what was
I
I
am making
saying
you
about this
tired.
card being immoral?
Yeah.
I mean, good God.
And can you imagine that we already talked about 10 matches and we still have 2 matches that like crazy, you know?
Mate, think about the depth of questions within the history and within the evolution and recent past of these athletes. Just think about that. Try, everybody in the chat, everybody watching the show, try and wrap your head around that. Todd Zilla, at the age he is at, believes that he is still improving, and the evidence would suggest that he is. Now, the old adage, Father Time remains undefeated, and certainly in my case, he has kicked the living piss out of me. But in Todd Zilla, he seems to be batting Father Time away for the moment and improving all the time. The man is evolving as an arm wrestler and has shored up a lot of holes. You know, he's shut down lanes where previously he was vulnerable. One of those lanes is the ability to defend against the fast attack. He has lost to this guy very badly in the past. But he lost to a very prime, very polished, younger version of Rustam who had not been injured himself. Now you wind the clock forward And due to an issue with Paul Lynn, Rustam blows his pec, and that takes the gas out of him. And it is fair to say...
No. 1 second. I think Rustam also had an injury the same place in 2016 or something.
Yeah.
I think in England or something somewhere.
I think he's had it. I actually think he's had it a few times, but not as severe.
Yeah. No. He also had the same injury, and then after that injury, he beat Tatashins in Poland. So when I had Todd and Rustam, my guess, Rustam said that he has never ever been in such physical shape as he is now.
Right. So let's talk about the speed of Rustam Babayev right now. Do you think he is as quick? He is as quick and direct and pulling positionally the same as when he previously blew through Toddzilla, or not? Do you think he's as fast as he was then?
Just remember Atlantic City match against Sandris.
Very
Ready
different.
go?
Very different.
No, but ready go. Ready go.
But
I kind of
neutralizing
saw
Sandris, bone
the
line
same.
Sandris. You ain't doing that with Todd.
No, Sandris tried out in. Sandris is not a joke. Sandris was heavier than Rustam, and every round started here and ended up here. I saw very similar Rustam as his prime. About like maybe I didn't see the same against Paul Lynn in Orlando, but Paul is also very, very, very explosive guy. I mean, Paul is very explosive guy. Even Sasha had huge trouble with him.
But doesn't and can't hang on to his pronator in the same way.
What are you talking about?
Doesn't have Todd's side and doesn't have that pronation.
Talking about who?
Paul Lynn.
Oh, Paul Lynn, yeah.
Todd's side, nowhere near Todd's pronator. Nowhere near Todd's.
No, I understand, but you know what Paul told me? Yeah, I understand, but what I just say is that I don't know if attacking Rustam's hand. Do you know how it is? It's like a Russian roulette. Yeah, you do it or you don't do it, you get flashed. If it controls,
I kind of disagree,
my friend. If you are going outside,
I do feel like Todd might be strong enough to go halfway on that. I think he might. I think Todd might be strong enough to make this purposely ugly, to make it so it isn't a direct, clean match. To make it so neither one of them is really in the position.
When you say pronator, Neil, when you say pronator, do you mean like Todd is going like his classic way, outside side pressure?
Not in this instance, no.
Huh?
Not in this instance.
What are you talking about?
I think this is how I see the match. Firstly, just answer the question I asked earlier on. In your opinion, is Rustam as fast now? Not stronger. Is he as fast as he used to be?
But I will tell you something. Did you watch the 6 rounds? I mean, do you remember the 6 rounds that Rustam beat Todd? There were some rounds that he held him and then pinned him, So he didn't really have. Once you control the pronator, I mean, the pinning may not be that hard. So what I'm just saying,
I think he did a lot of damage on the early hits, mate, when he blew through him.
No, I understand, but what I just tried to say that, like, I don't think that it had. Like only with the speed, it is just a crushing, like wrist power over and then he dominates there. You understand? So, look, my question to you: where should
first of all, just
where should Todd go?
Do you think he's as fast?
As fast?
Do you think Rustam is as fast now as he used to be?
Maybe a little bit less, but I don't think that was the key to beat Rustam. I think. Listen,
I do.
Like whenever I asked Todd, Rustam, I said, like, how close you guys were in power. You understand? If you were not that fast, he said, Engin, it was a huge difference. And when I asked Todd, Todd said also there was no way. Like, do you know what I thought when I thought? I was like, what if the match was really stopped? What would happen? But when I asked this question to them some days ago, they convinced me that the difference was there. I thought it was about this explosion, but this is what they said. And Rustam is generally a humble guy, you understand? I expected, listen, when I asked this question, I thought as you do now. And I expected an answer oh, if the match was, I was like a little bit stronger. If he would really stop me, I couldn't. But that's not. He said that the difference was.
Yeah, but to be honest, mate, it doesn't. I don't really pay much attention to that, and I'll tell you why. Because they're not lying. You get what you get from your experience. You feel like you feel based on experience, and you said it a moment ago. Once you have controlled the pronation, the power never gets down. And Rustam was much quicker over the start. He was fast to position. And once he'd secured position, he's much, much better. He's neutralized Todd a great deal. Todd at that time was nowhere near the arm wrestler, technically. Nowhere near. Not close.
I mean,
Now,
he was still in the sport for like more than 15 years, but and
but he wasn't.
he had wins against John Burzing. He had wins
Yes,
against like all the top pullers.
well
He has
aware of that,
beaten.
mate. But I think
Yeah,
stylistically,
yeah. Stylistically, he improved a lot.
I
But what
think
I'm just saying that
stylistically he's
where he
improved a
improved,
great deal and he's much more well-rounded. And I don't
Where
think
Todd
Rustam's as fast.
improved, where Todd improved is outer side pressure. He has much stronger now pronator. Before he was just giving up on his pronator. He was
Now
trying
we're
to,
getting there.
yeah.
Now we're getting
But
there.
now he has very good back pressure, very good pronator, and incredible side pressure. But what I'm just saying that where Todd has improved is, in my opinion, is the strongest part of Rustam Babe, which is his fingers, wrist, and the crushing, controlling. Even John, around his prime, he had hard time to, outside, against Rustam.
Okay, stop there. Hold that thought.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
John let him hit. I know he did because he told me he was going to backstage right before the match.
Listen,
Right before the match.
John is not an explosive guy, anyways, compared to Rustam.
But he told me what he was going to do, and he did it.
Mhm.
So
But listen, when you say that he
John is
hit,
super
just we'll
respectful
look
to
at the
Rustam,
round
but
one.
be
He
under no
wanted the
illusion.
no.
John
Listen,
could do what he wanted.
Rustam. John tried to keep Rustam outside, like he was like, and he was hanging here, and Rustam got fouled. Yeah, eventually, but he was getting close, and John was going outside. What I just tried to say that John tried to keep him outside. You understand?
Now,
Like match.
hold that thought. Like I said,
I'm talking about.
John,
the first match.
even at
First
that
match.
time, didn't have.
Second one, they went inside.
Yes. Now, John at that time didn't have the opportunity to arm wrestle ugly like Todd does. He just
Hmm.
didn't. He doesn't have the joint strength. He doesn't arm wrestle like that. But if you piece together the fact that Todd does have that option, he does have the option to potentially get
Listen,
the brakes on a slightly slower Rustam.
you to put the match to the ugly position. You really need to make sure that your pronator is not controlled by Rustam. Even the round that Paul Lynn injured Rustam by going inside, previous two rounds he went outside or something, and Rustam was beating him very quickly. So what I just try to say when I say the Russian roulette, what I meant is that Todd may have done something, but if somehow he tries to protect his pronator, and if he cannot, and if he loses, he's gonna lose the match quick. Because when you try to use your pronator, and then your pronator is like, to use pronator, you need to move your shoulder to outside, back. And then when you are going back with shoulder, and if your pronator turns that way, that round is gonna end quick. But if Todd has different plan, I don't know. But of course, if Todd keeps Rustem's wrist in a neutral position, Todd is winning that match. Nobody at Todd touching his weight category with a flat wrist like this can F with Todd Hutchings. He puts you in this position. You both are like this. He's beating you. You cannot beat him. You can't. You can't, because you can't. You basically, it is very very hard. Maybe 1%, maybe less, to beat Todd without controlling his pronator. You need to control that. That is how Dadikan beat him.
I understand.
Todd Hutchings couldn't go outside with him. He had to go
I understand.
inside. Yeah, and can you imagine that Todd cap him and bring him here, and then Dadikan was able to lift him up from there. So what I'm just saying that you control Todd's pronator, you have good chance of winning. You cannot control his pronator. He's gonna beat you even if you are Rustem, most likely.
I
Unless,
think Todd learned from the Dadikan match, Hengin.
I don't know. I think
think he
that
did.
Dadikan's hand is very strong. I think even if they would pull
Mm.
again today, even Todd just prepares himself for that. I think that Dadikan's hand struck. I mean, different. You remember 3 rounds? This guy beat
Yeah.
Morozov left arm. He was 114 kilo,
Mm-hmm.
and this guy also like. I mean, it's like hard to take his hand. Hard to take Dadikan's hand. My opinion.
Yeah, I agree. But I think that Todd learned from that match. And I think there is a halfway house for him here. If he can make this match, Rustam is nowhere near as strong if he doesn't get to the A side and get the control he needs. He's not close to as strong.
Yeah. He's
Anywhere
not a
towards the B
defensive
side.
puller. He's not defensive puller. Yeah, you're
No,
right.
exactly.
Baba, what
Exactly.
are you
Now
talking
there
about
lies the
specifically? Do you talk
opportunity.
about hook? Do you talk
I
about
think
hook?
that, mate, I think there's 2 or 3 options that
Yeah,
are
okay.
all relating to if Todd is very left on the pad, he has a really, really good shot. Really
Baba,
good shot.
in which way? You talking about hook? You talking about outside?
Either one gives him an
Oh, okay, okay.
opportunity. You
Listen,
don't have to go with one lane. You can
listen,
throw
if it
in
goes to
a
inside,
lane and then transition.
listen, if it
Rustam is
goes to
dangerous
inside,
early, but he needs to secure position.
no.
If
But
Rustam
if
does
it
not
goes,
secure position early, he's half as strong.
Neil, if it goes to inside in any position, Rustam still have chance. If it is in winning chance of Rustam, more chance. If Rustam is here or center, then match is close.
Hey, exactly. If
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
centre or slightly losing, Rustam is in a match, mate.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
don't believe that the scar tissue in his pec will be totally healed. I really don't. And I think when you're in that kind of situation, age and fatigue and damage comes back to haunt you. And I think it could be a very, very interesting match. In terms of the speed factor, I don't believe Rustam pulls the same as he used to do. I think he's slowed down considerably. He may be stronger than he's ever been, but I'm not sure he's fast over the first couple of inches like he used to be. It will be very interesting to see if he is. If he's saying, I'm as fast as I used to be, I'm pulling like I used to, if he comes out and he can do what he used to,
Neil,
I think he can
let me
win in the
ask you
canter.
this. Let me ask you this. What is the possibility, in your opinion, Todd to keep the match outside of hook and protecting his pronator? What is the possibility of this?
I think that it wouldn't be a bad strategy to use that as a starting point, as a precursory point, because he can, whereas a lot of people cannot afford to go into any kind of hook position with Rustam, he can. He's got in, and why? He may not win that match, but what he might do is put enough fatigue and damage into Rustam that allows him to do better as the rounds progress. Because if it comes down to endurance, it's not close. If he can pull it into an endurance match, it is not close. Not
So
close.
you are saying that if the strength level is close, then Todd wins. This is what you are
I'm
saying.
saying that if he can turn it into a dogfight, an ugly match,
I mean,
Todd
to
will
turn to
win easy.
dogfight, to turn to dogfight, the strength level needs to be close.
If
Yeah,
the match stays very clean,
yeah,
if the match is very clean, Rustam is a pretty heavy favourite. If the match turns ugly, Todd is a heavy favourite.
yeah. But ugly is you are saying that him to pronate.
I think there are 3 or 4, certainly 2 lanes that are very conceivable, neither pure outside, pure inside, which Todd can utilise. He would be able to do that because of the fact that the match becomes ugly. I don't want to talk too much about it
Uh-huh.
because by doing so, it favours one athlete or the other. And I want to see where they're really at on their own merits. But I don't believe that Rustam Babayev is as fast as he was. And I think that that was one of the big dominant factors. And I also think that Todd has firmed up some of the holes which made him much more vulnerable to Rustam in the past. Now, it's very interesting that you say Rustam believes he's better than he's ever been. I don't. I just don't. I think he might be stronger than he's ever been, but I don't think he's as good because one of Rustam's primary weapons was explosivity. It simply was, and I don't think he's
I
as
don't know.
fast as he used
Whenever
to
I
be.
watch him against Sandris, I saw the same Rustam.
I don't get
I
it at
saw
all.
it.
Sanders
I expected
there is
Sandris.
no comparison between
Neil,
what's
I
going to happen
expect.
here and Sanders.
Listen,
Sanders is not
Sandris
that
is
guy.
many times 110 kilo WOC champion, and
Yeah,
he is
but
very close.
stylistically so different.
One second, he is very close. He has been close to Reno. I think Reno may have the winning record against him.
Yeah, he does.
But what I'm just saying that I expected that match to stop. You understand? Some point, I expected like some point, and then whenever I see that he couldn't engage, then that remind me that
Now, behind the scenes, I
all
heard prior to that match and after that match that Sanders wasn't in great shape.
I don't
That's what
know
I
the
heard.
photos and everything I saw. I never seen Sanders like that. All the blood veins and things.
Yeah, he
Everything.
looks like a walking hard on. But I
Yeah,
spoke to
yeah.
the guy and I spoke to the guys around him, and they told me that Sanders was not in great shape.
I don't know. I have seen a lot of people saying those kind of things too.
But I think that this is a very, very different match.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly engaging match. I don't believe that it will take the same exact shape that it did in the past. I think it might be a much better more entertaining match now. And I do believe, as I said earlier, that both men have changed direction a little. I think the injury is a thing that may become a problem here, because I think that would create an issue for Rustam from a endurance perspective. I think if it comes down to an ugly dog fight, it heavily favours Todd. I think if it's really clean, it favours Rustam. If Rustam can keep really clean form, and he's a brilliant arm wrestler,
Listen, Neil, you have been
he will
saying
win comfortably.
clean or ugly, and I still don't understand what is exactly clean. You are saying that even in hook he can beat him, and hook is clean. What is like
I think he
ugly in
can
hook?
transition from one position to another, Engin. I don't think the match
Who?
necessarily has to take a single
No, no.
form.
What are like? Listen, you said that if the match is in like clean hook position and endurance game, Todd wins. So that is still a clean hook match. When you say
So here's
clean,
the thing.
do you mean the fast win? Fast win? Do you mean when you say clean?
No, not
Okay, what do you
necessarily.
mean? Okay, what do you mean
Listen,
clean?
you talked about it a moment ago. Securing the pronator, disabling the pronator of Toddzilla is very key for Rustam to stay in his lane.
Yeah.
If Rustam is very, very quick in terms of securing his position, that is what I'm talking about in terms of clean. Very, very quick and able to secure his position.
If the match lock in the center,
he's not, he's going to be in a very tough situation.
They are in the center and Rustam control task pronator. Like they are in hook. Usually when you are in hook, I mean you mostly control the pronator. But what I just tried to say, but you said Todd can still win if it is endurance game, right?
I think if Todd can stop the match in the center of the table or be on his A side, he is very much alive in the match.
Okay, isn't it
in the
clean
past,
position?
he's not
But
been able to do that.
Neil, isn't it clean position?
Sorry, say again.
Like the match that lock at the center, isn't it clean hook?
Not necessarily, no.
But what is ugly hook? What is ugly hook?
I think, how many demonstrations do you want? There's like fucking hundreds. If you make the match very, very ugly, Todd can win it. If the match is on the
No, that's not what I'm saying. Just give me an example so I can understand you.
Doesn't really matter the position.
Neil,
nowhere near as strong.
Neil, tell me an example that they are centered in the hook, Todd is winning, and that is an ugly hook. That I try to understand. Like they are.
It wouldn't. If you're really turned in, that's clean, isn't it?
Okay, so that's why I'm saying. But listen, you are saying that they are in the center. Todd has the chance to win. So that is also Todd has chance to win even in a clean position.
Yes, and I'll explain
now
how.
I understand you.
I'll explain how.
Okay, now I understand what you are saying. Okay.
Let me walk you through a scenario.
Okay.
Todd can hang on to the match with a little bit more back pressure and make it sit up in the center. And in round one, Rustam gets pretty clean position and drives through, and he wins. But he's a little gassed. And in the second round, Todd goes more left, does a similar thing, and this time Rustam doesn't quite get the control. He gets halfway there. And Todd can then cut into his position.
Okay.
Then we are singing and dancing. And then we're in a long match. And from that situation, much more interesting.
But can I ask you something? Can I ask you something? A lot of people criticizes David Dadikan being explosive, but not having good endurance. A lot of people. This is what people says. And
why? Because of the Morozov situation?
The Morozov situation. He was beating Prudnik 2-0. He lost to 3-2. And
didn't he get hurt though?
Yeah, but like he also had some like with the right arm with the Petrenko first round. He started good, and then Petrenko won. Anyway, so a lot of people think that Dadikan is very explosive, but doesn't have the super good endurance. Yep. But the Todd hooked him and brought him near the pad in winning position, and Dadikan was able to lift him and beat him. Do you think? Yep. My question, if you listen. Do you think that Todd has been dependent on outside pronator control, outside pull so much that maybe his hook endurance, when you don't pull, like remember in the past when before Dave Sheffield got injured, he was mostly like drag, like hooking that way, and then he started outside pronator base side pressure, and now whenever he goes inside, he can't even really. The arm doesn't want to, because when you pronate so much, your arm doesn't want to really go. He wants to turn out,
Yeah.
So do you think that was the case with Todd, that
yes,
he trains
I think and exactly then once that. I think Todd has attached himself and actually evolved as an arm wrestler, which makes him more difficult to deal with, and that is a big change. And it's also very interesting when you look at Rustam. And when we started to discuss this match, I said, wrap your head around the evolution of these guys. That is why this is such an interesting match, because neither one is the man they used to be. It's a bloody good job, because if they were, it'd be a very boring, easy win for Rustam Babayev. Honestly, it would. Because he was too explosive and he did everything. He was the perfect machine to disable Todd. Took away. He was strong enough to go straight through Todd, and has done numerous times, and it was pretty boring and entertaining. Didn't diminish Todd. Everybody's got that guy that's just a nightmare arm wrestler. Rustam is actually that guy for Sandra Shedis for a number of reasons, which we talked about before that match. But it's Devon Larratt is for Petrenko, makes him look like a bum. Petrenko is no bum. He's just Devon is perfectly designed to destroy his day. That's the reality of it. If you go to speak to Devon Larratt tonight in Mexico, if you say, did Neil tell you months before that match when it was announced that he'll destroy Petrenko and it will be boring? Ask him. Ask Devon if I told him that. And after the match, Devon came over and said, well, you did say I'd murder his ass. And I said, yeah, and it's not because Petrenko's not bad. It's you are designed to beat this guy. Everything you do right is going to cock him up. And the interesting thing for me here is, has Toddzilla evolved enough to be able to make this match sticky? Because if he can make this match sticky, he will pull Rustam Babayev into a situation where Babayev is not at his best. Previously, Rustam has been able to dominate the match by wrestling very cleanly, very smoothly, and he's an excellent arm wrestler. Very underrated technical arm wrestler. And he just out arm wrestled Todd in the past. This will be interesting. If Todd can make it sticky, ugly, that is not Rustam's game. He does not arm wrestle well in those situations. Every time he's been in that kind of situation, he's really struggled.
Okay,
Prudnik
Neil,
used to cause him tremendous issues with that.
Neil, it has been 1 hour and 49 minutes. So
Holy shit.
yeah. So we have one more match, and we have been talking about this match for like probably 15 minutes.
Apologies to the chat.
Yeah, but it
Get
just shows, you know,
absolutely.
how good the match is. And so Vitali Laletin versus Michael Todd.
I mean, my God. Vitali Laletin, in my opinion, is probably the greatest present threat to Levan Saganashvili stylistically. However, Michael Todd may be the most difficult stylistic match out there right now for Vitali Laletin. There are a number of reasons why. Vitali Laletin loves to pull low hand pistol grip top roll because of the advantages he's got from a leverage perspective. He's magnificent at doing that. Maybe the best we've ever seen in the super heavyweight division. He's adapted that style and has done it wonderfully. He's also one of my favorite super heavyweights of all time. I talked about it earlier. I love guys who arm wrestle stylistically. He's been involved in some of the best matches that you'll ever see. A brilliant arm wrestler. Very, very decorated. Growing, changing, evolving. He's embraced what's happened with East versus West and King of the Table. And he is, I mean, we're talking about a different thing that we've ever seen. You know, he's 150 kilos now. This isn't the same guy that pulled Levan in the top 8. His arc is higher than any athlete in the division, period. What I mean by that is his spiral, his attacking arc is higher and therefore more difficult to contain. And he creates massive problems for a lot of people as a result of that. One thing he doesn't do proficiently and has not needed to do proficiently because of the height of that arc is climb. He's not a guy that rises and climbs, knuckles up, rises and climbs. He simply has not shown that element of his game in the past. There's a number of reasons why. That is the primary reason why Michael is potentially a real issue for him. The unknown here is whether the momentum and top end strength and simply the height of that arc is so significant now on a 150 kilo version of Vitali that he just does not get slowed down. And it's so difficult to put the brakes on that he goes straight to the pad. It may happen, and it may be a boring match. If that do, it may be. On the other hand, Michael can't contest the height game, but he can hang on to his rise. His pronation is ridiculous. His ability to gut it out and to win very ugly matches is ridiculous. And if this turns into a sticky match, I believe he definitely wins. It's a fabulously engaging potential. Most people are going to give the favourite to Vitali Laletin. And why wouldn't you? I mean, the dude is unbelievable right now. And we've just seen Mike come off a loss with Hermes. And people always do this arm wrestling maths. I can't do that kind of arm wrestling math because I can see too many angles. Maybe to my detriment, I can't do that. I can see the angles here, as I'm sure you can. I think that Vitali Laletin will be able to see the angle here where Mike's a problem. And it's actually a credit to Vitali's balls that he's happy to stand, because this is a banana skin. For everything. This is an absolute banana skin. When I said it the other night on the fix with Mike when I was speaking to him, mate, and I've spoken to you about it before. When I was speaking to Hermes Gasparini, Hermes spoke about the fact that he is perfectly designed to beat Michael Todd. And that gave him otherworldly confidence. That's why he was so confident that he was able to piece him apart. And as it happens, he did, and he delivered exactly on that. But one thing was evident. He wasn't just talking off the top of his hat. If you looked at the match history that the guys had, if you looked at the makeup of Hermes, he is very well designed. One of the reasons is because his speed, his ability to walk and climb and then transition to a very heavy press is great. He's magnificent at doing that. Is Vitali?
Yeah.
There is the question. And I know, listen, I'm not asking, I know you can see all this. But for the people in the chat, there lies the question. And it's a fabulous match. And one of the things that makes arm wrestling the most wonderful sport in the world, in my opinion, is that the opportunity for things to go sideways in all combat sports always remains consistent. And I would love to see this match evolve, because it will be a real education of how that can present itself. When you've been in the game for as many years as we have, and many of the people who are in the sport will have been, we've seen example after example after example of these things. And over time, you realize that that can present itself. And this is a great opportunity for that to happen again. Mm-hmm. It's also exciting to see Vitali Laletin on the journey he is on. And there'll be another side of the fan base that want to see him run over Mike, that want to see him destroy Mike. Because if he can, number one, who destroys Mike? Nobody runs through Mike. Nobody runs through Michael Todd. He just, the last guy that did that was Devon. He just doesn't get decimated that regularly at all,
I don't think Devon ran through Michael until Michael got exhausted.
King of the table.
No, not round
dominated.
one, not round one. The only guy that I have seen doing some rounds was Pushkar, 2 rounds, in Poland. But at that time, Michael was, I think, allowed to do that desperation move. Now with the open arm top roll, it is more possibility. There is one super chat that Roman Gamtenadze says, if I was a betting guy, I would listen to you guys. I wouldn't suggest that, because more you know, more you are confused, right, Neil?
Yeah.
Do you remember your conversation with that guy? What was his name? Henry.
Well,
Henry.
I always admit, I listen to people like, I listen to people like Henry Nering, and I listen to people like, Pradeep, of the arm wrestling opinion. I don't know why you'd call that arm wrestling news. That ain't no news. He does a great job. I'm just messing with him, but he does a great job in reporting news. But he puts more opinions across than he puts news. We all know that, Pradeep. We all know that, son. So all I'll say is this: good on you for having the spokes to step up and do that, Pradeep, Henry, and anybody else that wants to just go rushing in headlong. Good for you. Amazing. Sometimes it'll come off, sometimes it won't. Whenever we talk about these things, it's a forecast. It's a possibility. The possibilities are endless.
Listen, Neil, if two guys are pulling against each other, your chance of predicting is right is 50%. So, I mean, like, I may go outside and ask someone, don't know anything about armrest. I would just give them their name.
What I would always say is, tell me how the match goes. Break
chance.
down the match. Describe the match. Give me a descriptor of the match.
Yeah.
Tell me how the match goes. Show me the lanes, and we'll see.
Like, what we can do is just that we know all the possibilities. So more you know, more you are unsure, because many different things can happen. Pulling off John. Has anyone ever been so strap deep, even post to go? Want hook, back pressure, kings move like ready go more than look. What did you understand?
Can you repeat that, mate?
I don't know. My English probably. Has anyone ever been so strap deep, even post to go? Want hook, back pressure, kings move like ready go more than look. I didn't understand. Sorry,
no,
but
I don't really get that.
Maybe Neil understand. Yeah. Nope. Okay. There is a super chat. I can't read your name.
I can answer the question though. That last
Okay.
super chat, I can't answer that question.
Okay. What's that?
It came to me right there.
Okay.
Yes, Danny Tesh.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And is Jerry Caderet gonna pull anytime soon? Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I
And
could
and,
tell
and,
you,
and
but
you
I
will
ain't going
like
to
the
tell
match.
you.
You will like the match.
Oh, mate. I think I'm not going to. Let's leave it.
You will be. I'm not gonna tell you the match.
Mm.
The next thing you will be discussing on the fix.
Not immediately. Yeah, like straight away.
Yeah.
Won't
Yeah.
make me
Yeah.
20 minutes. I'll be on there, man.
Yeah. So sometimes when we talk, when I say, like, for example, like Michael has chance to beat Vitali, people goes, "Oh, you are trying to hype Michael and hype the match, trying to sell pay-per-view." My friend, listen, if you are pulling against Michael Todd, there is listen, if Hermes wasn't well-rounded as he
Hmm.
is, you understand? Whenever I said Hermes won that match barely, people say, "Oh, you're joking me." Yes, he won barely. And
Yeah.
Hermes came to podcast and he said he won barely.
Yes, of course.
And he knows it. Even
The
though he
margins
did
are
everything
slight.
perfectly, he did everything perfectly.
Hmm.
Hermes pulled perfectly. And
Yes.
Hermes, about that, listen, Neil, he gives me the same like vibes, like John was giving. Like with him, like he is so smooth at the table.
Hmm.
The only thing probably is missing is more inside power, maybe more side pressure. But the
Hermes is great.
outside ability of Hermes is like the smoothness and everything. The
He's
the
mega.
table IQ is very close to John's.
He's very, very
Outside.
good.
The
Very,
only
very
only
good.
only only difference is that, like, which is big. John was able to pull in any style as good as anyone. You
Yeah.
understand? Like, I will ask you something. The way that I pull, how would you rate that move? How would you rate?
How would I rate the way that you pull, the style?
Yeah, but that style, the way
Savage.
that, huh?
You were absolute savage.
So what I'm just saying that, like, that way I'm doing good. So the difference with John is doing this at
Yeah.
that level, this at that level, this at that level. He was doing everything and he
He's a
very smoothly.
graphic equalizer,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the treble is not high, the bass is not too high. The graphic equalizer is perfect in all areas. Contest anywhere with anyone. Silk.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So let's finish, and we will see Vitali versus Michael. Incredible match. All of those matches are great. Very quickly, Hermes versus Levan. I see Hermes very dedicated, and the time that Levan said that those weights are fake, it is it like it just sounded like they were very big weights. And Levan thought that it's not possible. And if those weights are the real weights, then a lot of people thought that this statement put Levan into, like, in a bad
Levan
look.
is unbelievable, and until someone can dominate, you got to be a believer. Levan has great reads in his matches. Levan is he's a force of nature.
Yeah.
You've got to go for me. Levan will always start favourite at the moment from the current crop of heavyweights. Stylistically, I actually believe Vitali Laletin is probably the biggest threat. Technical well-roundedness, yes, you would go with Hermes. Hermes is an evolving force, and I don't think he will stop. I think he'll continue the pursuit. Shit, my phone just may die. We've been on here so
Okay.
long. If
To
it
super
does,
chat.
I apologise to everybody. But
Can we see a left arm match between Wagner Bortolata and Corey West? Possible? Is it possible to make this match possible?
yeah,
Casey says that, do you two see a chance of anyone becoming dominant again in the sport with table time only, or is weight training mandatory in the sport also? What do you think?
um, I'm not sure anybody would pursue just table time. Is it possible? Yes. For the right person, the right individual comes in, it's possible. Will anybody do it? Very unlikely. To be dominant in the super heavyweight division, I mean, you're talking. There's just not. It's a minimal chance that would happen, because why would you do that? I mean, I just don't see it. If you're going to be a dominant force, I spoke about it earlier on. One of the issues is that you can't find people to arm wrestle against.
Mm-hmm.
It would become boring and it becomes problematic for you. It's a limiting factor. So there are challenges for people that are at elite level. The challenges are around finding the right training partners. I genuinely believe that different people can take different routes to the top. I think it's easier for a lighter weight guy to achieve. If it was ever going to happen, it would happen in a lighter weight class. It wouldn't happen with a super heavyweight.
Neil, 2 hours and 5 minutes. I ask you something, you tell me as
We're
short
just warming up, Engin.
As short as possible. No, I will talk with you 5 hours, no problem. But
I know.
Engin Terzi now 92 kilo. He's 50 years old. Like tons of fat.
It only took us 2 hours.
No, let me finish. Let me finish. So just say that I lost like 7 kilo and then made 85 kilo category. I don't think I can lose 17 kilo or 15 kilo or something.
And pull Mindaugas Terasetis.
Okay. And listen, I know you would want Mindaugas to win. I know that. But what is your opinion? Like there is someone, I'm not gonna give his name. He would also allow me to lose to Mindaugas. But
yeah, he's called Mindaugas.
Huh? What's that?
He's called Mindaugas. Mindaugas and you make me laugh.
Okay. So who is winning? You have $10,000. Engin is ready. He is ready, and then we go table.
I think for Mindaugas to have a good chance, honestly, it would need to be below 80 kilos. If the guy that pulled against VRL showed up, problem. I think if you're 75
the guy that pulled VRL, the guy that pulled VRL, Mindaugas would beat that guy in this way, and Mindaugas would lose this way to that guy. So, but listen, even if I make like 85, my friend, just like, I mean,
dude, don't be showing me you don't know what fat is.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that I don't know how to lose all that weight. I don't even do.
They have 112 kilos. Don't talk to me about fat.
But listen, when I was pulling 55 kilo, you were already pulling 80 kilos. So the same thing. Yeah.
But listen, Mindaugas Terasetis, 75 kilo max. Let's go. It'd be amazing. Can you imagine the hype?
Listen.
Scale. Let's get your ass to Arm Wars. Let's go.
Listen,
we'll
I have beaten him. I have beaten him when I was 70 kilo. I have beaten him when we were under 75 kilo.
Dude, it'd be the banter alone would be awesome. It would go off. It would go off. But you need like 6 months build up just for the banter. It'd be amazing.
Say again?
Can you imagine the messages? Holy shit, that'll be good stuff.
Listen, last time he talked a lot. He said he's gonna hold me from here and beat me and things like that. And listen. I beat him so badly, 5-0 right and 5-0 left. After the match finished, first he started asking me, how can I train? What can I do? And things like that. and then second thing he said, if we pull again, I will never tease you like that again. He said, I will stay quiet.
He doesn't understand it. Why do you want?
I threw, okay, Marius Gay says, Engin, why do you not just announce the match? My friend, I'm like 50%, maximum 55%. I don't even know if I can get in shape or not. So how can I announce? Let me a little bit train and then see where I am, and then I can announce.
That's the thing, isn't it? You're like, you're not even training. It's hard. And mate,
listen, I train.
Remember, Mindaugas now should start as a favourite against you because he's in the prime of his career. He's prime. He's right now. I mean, he's in his prime.
You're talking about in this shape,
mate. In that shape, he'd murder you. You're not
okay,
training.
Yeah. I'm not gonna pull in that shape. But if I am in like anywhere near my best,
If you got back to the VRL Dobrin
yeah.
situation where you were there,
Listen,
that's bad.
listen, don't do that or something. He can probably beat me like this, but only after I get tired, not right away. Not right away.
Here's the question though. Honestly, do you think you could
Yeah.
get back to that shape again? I don't know. You're
No,
old as
no, but I
hell.
will tell you something. You believe or not, 85% of that shape would beat him. Believe or not. And because I know what I'm talking about. And
Yeah,
so,
you know where you're at. Only you know where you're at. If you can get back to
Listen,
that,
Neil,
amazing.
Neil.
You're a bad
Like,
dude if you get back to that. I don't know whether you
listen,
can.
Neil,
Go on.
I didn't train for like 2 years and then 1 month trained and I destroyed Ray. Like 1 month training, like 2 years, nothing, all doing these things, and 1 month training. This time I probably will train 4 or 5 months, but I have been out so long time, so I don't exactly know where I am. I
No,
need the
that's
first,
the problem. When you
yeah,
get a certain level of, you've been inactive for that long and you're older, you've had
that's bad.
injuries and stress and all kinds of shit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we will
People say
see.
to me, could you get back and pull again? Obviously, I'd say no, because am I committed? Could I dedicate that time to train? No, honestly. I'd love to come back and arm wrestle, but would I be super dedicated and able to get up and hit the gym hard and train my ass off? No, because I'm too busted up. So,
Hmm.
you got to be realistic. If there was matches that I could get myself into, if I could get fit and start to build up again, I'd probably have to take some ass whippings and try and get back to a level, But I'm conscious of the fact that I've been inactive, I'm beat to shit, damaged, and it'd take me time to get back. It'd be quite interesting. I'd love to start pulling again in that respect,
Hmm.
but I don't think I'm going to go and get back down to 85 kilo and start banging with the
Coming
top
a
guys
little
in the
bit,
world. No way.
like a
What
little
is
bit,
that? What's that?
yeah, a little bit
Yeah.
coming.
Hey, mate, you're upset. I'll tell you what. I hope you do get it back. I hope you do
Hmm.
come back and start pulling again. Because do you think you'd still be as angry? Honestly, do you think you'd still get wild like you used to?
Can I ask you something? Do
Go
you
on.
think that it was really giving me power?
What, when you were nuts?
Yeah,
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 absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. I was
Listen,
doing.
you were restless to the point where you were nuts, absolute frigging lunatic. That obsessive compulsive never stop. When I talked earlier on about the girls being limited because of that, the ladies' class, you haven't got that. I mean, this situation with Mindagus, if you get somebody that gets under your skin that bad that you can't wait to get out to the gym because you want to prove it that bad, bet your ass it makes you stronger. 100%. I think it makes you better in life. The journey that you go on, you might get your ass kicked and you're still amazing. You've progressed a great deal based on that.
We will
I,
see.
I, it's a
Yeah,
positive thing.
I'm training now.
10% battery I've got on it, Whose fault is that,
I
Inge? Eh?
listen. Yeah, listen. The only thing is that I'm still the same guy here, but the body doesn't match up. But we will see. We will
That's what
see.
I tell my missus. She said, why did I marry you, you fat lump? I can't stand you. And I said, no, love, I'm the same guy. Same guy. And she says, no, you're not. That's why I'm going with a milkman. That's what she says. See what I mean? That's what I have. Yeah.
Anyways, guys, yeah, thank you very, very much for watching us. This
Here she is.
guy,
She's just come in now. Milkman's left.
two guys that I love talking about arm wrestling, and one is Travis Pageant, the other one is Neil Pickup, and I love Travis. Like he knows
Yeah,
arm wrestling,
Travis
and
is a funny
he is
dude.
not political. He just gives straight answer. He has different perspective, and I love talking with Neil because he is very knowledgeable and he can do deep analyzing. And yeah, thank you very, very much, Neil.
Thank you for the
And
invite, mate. Looking forward to
yeah,
getting over there. Can't wait.
and
Mega
see
card.
you. Yeah, see you soon.
See you
Yeah,
soon, mate.
once again, Neil, you are the only guy in this community who is unreplaceable. Just remember that.
Thank you, buddy. And yeah, let's go. If you've not bought the pay-per-view, get it bought early. Let's go. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, take care.
Bye
And take care, guys. Thank you very, very
bye.
much. Thank you, guys.